Hello and what's up, GSC Pokemon Challenges fam? How you guys doing? We're back. Happy Thanksgiving if you're in the North America region, at least back in the United States. I guess I don't know when Canada's Thanksgiving is, but happy Thanksgiving to you nonetheless. We are back with episode 5 of the Whitney Minimum Battle series. We're about halfway done with this, so I'm hopeful that we're going to be done with this by the end of the year and we're going to be on to Morty. That's the hope that I have because Whitney's not really doing too much work here. So we're going to go ahead and try to beat her up with a bunch more Pokemon today. You're going to notice that the channel members have actually increased quite a bit up there. We have some brand new channel member picks. Of course, we've gotten a Rhydon, a Chansey added in. Delibird was saved by the legendary Q, and we've still got a couple people who haven't gotten me their picks. So we've got a ton of Pokemon up there that are going to be running through the game, as well as 18 challengers. We're coming in to start with the Magnemite line. We've got Farfetch'd, the Doduo line, Dewgong, Muck, Cloyster, Haunter and Gengar, Hypno's coming in, Kingler. We've got the Snubbull line, Qwilfish, Sneasel, and the Teddiursa line. There's a lot of Pokemon to go. I don't know what Pokemon are ever going to fail here, though. I think we're going to crush Whitney, but we're going to lead off with the Magnemite line, with the Steel typing. I think this is going to be some of the easiest Pokemon, but then we'll follow that up with those flying types, where we might actually have some semblance of a challenge. I don't know. Let's get into it and find out. So, of course, Magneton has really good defense. It has the Steel typing. I don't expect us to have any issues here whatsoever, because this gym, what are they really going to do to us? We have just such a good defensive typing, and we even know like Sonic Boom, we can do fixed 20 damage if we want to. I don't think we're even going to need any TMs here, but let's find out. So this is one Pokemon for whom I don't even think we need to go Goldberry here. I think we're going to be fine as we are. So we're just going to come into Scary Carry, of course, and make very quick work of her Snubbull. Bite doesn't really matter. Lick doesn't really matter. I mean, licking magnets, that was a thing that I did as a kid, but still. We can simply make our way to Whitney, where coming into this fight, we're at level 17 with 50 HP. We've got Thundershock, Tackle, Supersonic, and Sonic Boom on the moveset. 32 attack, 43 defense, 52 special attack, 35 special defense, and 35 speed. I don't think we're going to have any issues. In fact, I don't even think I need to heal. Let's just go. So first up, of course, is Clefairy, and I'm just going to go Thundershock on this Pokemon. It uses Cut on me. Good job. Now Double Slap does 1 damage per hit, and we can simply knock this Pokemon out. It takes 4 hits to get through that, though. A little more than what I thought. Out next, we have the Miltank, and I think the best strategy is just to confuse it, because of course it is going for the rollout strat here. But as long as it hits itself in confusion at least once, we're basically good to go. There it, in fact, misses the rollout, and it's below 20 HP, so we could go for Sonic Boom. Instead, she actually recovers there. So we're going to reconfuse her. She hits herself in confusion, and we really just need to whittle her down. She knows that we know Sonic Boom, apparently, because she keeps using Milk Drink to heal up. And here she just doesn't quite have enough damage output, and we get through just like that. So Magneton, it was never really going to be a question there. It was just going to be a matter of maybe resets and a little bit of supersonic luck, but really nothing to worry about. That was a bit closer than I thought, though, especially because her AI is causing her to use Milk Drink there, that we might not do as well as I think with the Magnemite. I'm a little nervous, actually. We've also got to keep in mind that our options are pretty limited with Magneton in the next section. Now, we could learn Rollout, and otherwise, I mean, we're going to get Thunder Wave via level up pretty soon. Outside of that, there's not a whole lot of moves that are going to be good against Ghosts. So while we get through here just fine, this is a Pokemon that might end up having to go Thunder or going with Hidden Power Dark in the next section in order to get through Morty. We're just going to have to see. But for now, Magneton moves on. Let's check in on that Magnemite. Now, of course, Magnemite has exactly the same moveset as Magneton, so we're just going to have to see how it actually works out. We might need more confusion luck here. So this one definitely needs to go into the underground to get some extra levels here. Obviously, Thundershock's going to completely destroy the Slowpoke trainer, and then we're just going to spam Sonic Boom against good old Teru. Now, of course, this is another fight where Carrie really isn't scary at all. We easily defeat her, but I'm going to make sure to heal heal up before I go into the gym leader, and I'm actually going to give the gold berry in this one because we might actually need it. Of course, if we get desperate, we could always go for rollout strats here, but let's try with our moveset as it is first. We're coming in with a level 17 Magnemite with 42 HP, Thundershock, Tackle, Supersonic, and Sonic Boom on the moveset, and we've got 23 attack, 35 defense, 43 special attack, 30 special defense, and 27 speed. Let's just see. So first things first, we saw that Thundershock with a Magneton was still a 4-hit KO on the Qwilfish, so I'm going Sonic Boom the whole way. This move technically should be a little bit better because it should allow us to knock it out in 3 hits, but then it metronomes Sacred Fire and we die. So we actually take a reset on Whitney there. Let's try this one again. Here she just double slaps us, and that allows us to knock her out in 3 hits, of course. And then it's a 4-hitter against the Miltank. I'm going to confuse this Pokemon if I can, just to try to reduce the odds of it stacking up all of the rollouts on me. But now when it heals up and then rolls out, I think we can just knock her out. Yeah, just like that. So it's probably better to not use Supersonic on Whitney there and just use the Gold Berry. And in that case, you're going to heal up enough damage that you don't actually have to worry. As long as all the Sonic Booms hit, you're basically guaranteed to win there because that Pokemon is a 4-hit KO. Outside of that, you just need a good range from the metronomes on that first Qwilfish and you're basically fine to get through with a Magnemite. But now in the next section, yet again, I think Magnemite's going to be in that same boat of possibly needing to use rollout, possibly even having to go as hard as getting Thunder to get through the Rival 3 fight and Morty. Now we could go Quick Claw plus rollout strats as a way to try to get through that one. We'll just have to see if it actually works though. For now, we will get through with that Pokemon and it's time to check out some flying types. Let's see how they go. So if you had asked me when I started the Whitney section if I thought flying types would get through, I would have told you it was pretty far-fetched, but still I think this Farfetch'd is going to be able to get through this gym. Basically, we've got reasonable enough speed, we've got access to sand attack, and we're a decent attacker, so I think we're gonna have a decent shot of getting through. In the absolute worst case, I think we go for return strats, but we're going to try with our moveset as it is. We currently know Swift, so we have a slightly stronger normal move anyway. I will be interested to come back and try Farfetch'd later with a stick, just to see how it goes, because maybe with the higher crit chance it would be even better. But for now, we're just going to make quick work of the underground and then make our way to Whitney. So now as we go into the gym, if we need an upgrade, we do learn Headbutt. We also learn Mud Slap, so we could try either of those moves if we're having trouble before we go return strats. Still for Scary Carry, she's basically not scary at all as usual. We're simply going to spam Peck even here and we should easily get through. So now it's just time to do a quick heal and make our way to Whitney. So Farfetch'd is at level 17 with 51 HP. We're gonna add that Gold Berry on, of course. I think it's mandatory for these flying types. But we've got Peck, Sand Attack, Leer, and Swift at the moment with 33 attack, 30 defense, 31 special attack, 32 special defense, and 32 speed. We're gonna be slower here, but we'll just have to see if this is enough. So Whitney round 1, I'm going to go straight for the Swift at the start of this one. This appears to be a 3-hit KO on Qwilfish as it uses rest, so we're gonna knock it out before it can wake up. Very nice. Out next comes the Miltank, and I think our only strategy here is to go for the sand attacks. I'm gonna try Swift once just to see how much damage we do though. What is the range here? We did 13 damage with that first Swift. So that makes this a 6-hit KO, assuming that 13 is the standard range. So I think we do need to sand attack this Pokemon, get it to miss, and we're just gonna have to set up like all the sand attacks here and then basically hope that we're able to use some Leers. We lose the first one obviously, but let's try a second attempt. So this time we're not going to mess around. We're going to go straight for the sand attacks, but we took too much damage from the Qwilfish, so just 2 rollouts knocked us out. So it might come down to actual damage ranges here from the Miltank. We might actually need it to miss the second rollout. So on the 5th attempt, we get through to the Miltank on full health, and so we should be able to survive a couple of rollout hits. Here it misses, then it goes for Stomp. Now it's trying to attract us. We're getting its accuracy down nice and low, but we're going to have to heal with that Gold Berry. And Stomp is doing so much damage, we simply get knocked out, even through all of the accuracy drops. So the real question here right now is just, does another move like Headbutt give us a better damage range in this fight? And also, is it better to use that Mud Slap where we can at least deal some damage as we're lowering the accuracy? So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to learn Mud Slap first, and I'm going to learn that over Sand Attack. And I'm also going to learn Headbutt and learn that over Swift. So let's get back into this. Let's test out some ranges and see if we can find a way through. So of course, Headbutt helps a little bit here because it already allows us to get some flinches on the Clefairy, allowing us to get through with better health more consistently. Now against the Miltank, it goes Stomp here. We're going to just heal all the way up after that. And now we're just mud slapping this Pokemon like crazy. We're down to 5 HP and it knocks us out. Still, we were doing reasonable damage there. I'm going to try this again, and I just want to see what Headbutt does against that Miltank. And Headbutt did 14 damage. So that does turn this into a 5-hit KO rather than a 6-hit KO. So it is a little bit better here. We get a rollout miss. I'm going to use a Leer here. She attracts us. But then with the single Leer, the Headbutt took it down to 30 HP. So we just did 24 damage there. So if we can just manage one Leer, then this would be a 3-hitter. So the issue, of course, is that she's milk drinking, and there's not a whole lot we can do about that. Stomp is doing massive damage, obviously, and she knocks us out when we had her down to 9 HP. Now, as far as I can tell, when you Leer at her, she basically then goes for Attract after that. Granted, she seems to be using Attract a lot on us no matter what, and we simply get knocked out a lot by the really strong Stomps. But now what I wonder is if we simply use a Leer here, she missed the first rollout, of course. Now Headbutt should be doing a lot of damage. And if she just sticks with rollout, we should be able to knock her out here, even though she just kept building it up because she missed a couple times. That's all we actually needed. So it's probably a little bit luck-based there. I think with Max Power Return, of course, as a same type move, we would get through even better here. But hey, we got through Whitney and we're moving on with Farfetch'd. Now, once again, I'm not sure what this Pokemon's going to be able to do in the next section. That is the part that I'm really worried about for some of these flying types because, while yes, Peck can hit ghosts, it's not a very strong move, and we're not going to get a stronger flying move for quite a while. Our next level up move is Fury Attack, which basically does nothing for us in this next section. So we're going to probably be hoping for some luck against this Morty fight. Basically hoping both against the rival and against Morty to not get cursed immediately, and hopefully have enough after that to get through. We're just gonna have to see. Still, Farfetch'd gets through for now, so let's go check on our Dodrio. Now, Dodrio has gotten here without using any TMs so far. Of course, it has a really good attack stat amongst flying types, so I expect it to do a lot of damage here. We just don't have great defense, so I'm not sure how that's going to stack up against Whitney. We may once again have to go for those Mud Slap strats. While Dodrio is reasonably fast, it's probably not going to be fast enough to outspeed the Miltank if I have to guess. So we may just be relying on some luck in that section. Now, we do actually have some troubles against Teru in the underground. I actually had to reset here once because he managed to knock me out due to getting a paralysis and then just landing a bunch of Thunder Shocks. We get him on the second attempt, but still not great. You need a berry to go into that fight if you're going to get through reasonably well. Now, that of course doesn't bode very well for against Whitney when we're going to be facing rollouts. We're really going to have to see if we can manage to somehow get through this. So of course, these medium fast level up Pokemon level up just after the Clefairy. We don't level up here on the Snubbull, so we're not going to see our stats recalculate. It might be possible that we get to a speed tie here, but I think it's probably going to be 1 point of speed too slow. Vitamins would help you here. Remember, we're going no vitamins in these runs. So we're coming in at level 17 with 54 HP, Peck, Growl, Pursuit, and Fury Attack. We've got 49 attack, 35 defense, 32 in both specials, and 45 speed. I don't think we're going to gain 3 speed here. So of course, I'm going to give the Gold Berry. I think that's our only shot of getting through this. Save the game, and let's try a few attempts at Whitney. So first up is the Clefairy. I'm just going to go with Fury Attack. I know it's a little bit random, but if we can get a good Fury Attack, we should knock this one out in just a couple turns, and we do. We get to level 18, and we are in a speed tie. So we can growl at the Miltank to try to lower its attack stat, and then go for the Fury Attack. A good 5-hit Fury Attack did 32 damage there, including a critical hit there. So we could get through this reasonably if we just manage to land enough hits with Fury Attack here. She's going rollout. We might need one more turn. We actually outspeed, and there we go. We beat Whitney on the first attempt. It came down to a speed flip at the end, but we did manage to win. So that's kind of ridiculous. I didn't think we were going to get the speed tie. I didn't think we were going to gain 3 points in speed there. Clearly, there's a little bit of rounding that happens because I've seen other Pokemon only get to 47 speed there. So yeah, it comes out ahead just barely, this Dodrio. But hey, I mean, it is kind of a fast Pokemon. You would think that a Pokemon inspired by an ostrich would be faster than a cow. So at least we managed to tie it. But since Dodrio gets through, it is time to check on Doduo and see if he can manage to get through as well. This is going to be a little tough, I think, but let's try it. So Doduo is another one of these Pokemon that I think has no chance if it doesn't go into the underground. Like, how are we going to beat Whitney with this Pokemon? So we're going to come straight in here and get this XP while we can. But on top of that, I'm actually going to learn the Mud Slap TM here. I think this is a logical play, given that what we really need is to get some misses in this next fight. Plus, it's going to help us against Teru here. So I'm actually going to forget Fury Attack. We can always learn Swift, which is like the equivalent of a 4-hit Fury Attack, and that will be a better attacking move anyway. As usual, tell me if you think it's a strategy mistake down below, but here, of course, Mud Slap is going to help a lot against Teru and get us to the gym where we can use our accuracy strats. I want to keep Growl just because I think Growl might actually be useful here. We might be going into some like Mud Slaps plus Growl and then trying to get the range to knock Whitney's Pokemon out. So of course, against Scary Carry, I'm just going to spam Peck. It turns out to be a 4-hit KO, but we get through nice and easy, and it's on to the gym leader, where I think this is the part where we're going to be resetting for a hot minute. So coming into the Whitney fight, at level 17, Doduo has 45 HP, Peck, Growl, Pursuit, and Mud Slap at the moment. We've got that Gold Berry on, and we're coming in with 40 attack, 26 defense, 23 in both specials, and 37 speed, so there's no chance we're outspeeding the Miltank. We're just gonna have to hope for the luck. So first up against Whitney's Clefairy, I'm just gonna go Peck. We get a critical hit turn 1, but this is looking to be a 4-hit KO. We even had to heal just due to a double slap here from the Clefairy. So we've already lost our Goldberry here. Stomp takes us down to 1 HP, and we get knocked out just like that. So it's pretty clear, first things first, that Peck is not going to be enough to get us through this, especially with this Clefairy actually dealing damage. We do manage to knock it out this time without getting the heal. That's good at least. Stomp takes us down to 2 HP as we heal up, and she just stomps again, and she's just going for a stomp on this Pokemon because clearly she knows that she can just stomp on our Doduo and win. So yeah, that's not going to work. So here I am going to learn the move Swift. I'm going to learn it over Peck. There's not really anything that we need Peck for in the near term. Like, even when you consider against like Chuck, where yes, Peck would be super effective, by that point we should have Tri Attack, and Stab Tri Attack is going to be stronger than Peck. So there's really no reason to keep this move at this point. Let's get Swift on the moveset just so that we have something stronger here and see how this goes. So here against the Clefairy with Swift, we did 24 damage. So this is going to be a 3-hit KO, but at least it's a guaranteed 3-hitter. We get through nice and easy there. Miltank comes out. I just want to see the range. Of course, we don't even get a C because we get stomped down immediately. So here, let's try this again. We're just going to need to get good metronome luck. Here we get paralyzed and then slash. Oh gosh. We're just going to have to reset. And Miltank, basically, whenever it knows that Stomp is just going to one-shot us, it's just going to use that move. So I actually think we might even need to Mud Slap here on the Clefairy, trying to lower its accuracy, trying to get a miss. Okay, Sunny Day's kind of fine, but yeah, we don't get any misses there, so I think that's an auto reset. We finally managed to get through that Clefairy with decent enough health that we can try to hit the Miltank, and it just stomps us and we lose. Oh, this is ridiculous. So the Goldberry might not be doing enough for us here, and there might be only one strat that I think of to get through before we go for the return strats, and that is the Quick Claw. Just because the Quick Claw will give us a potential to outspeed against that Miltank, and maybe then we can get the first Swift or Mud Slap on it before it gets the chance to damage us. Let's try this. Here it goes rollout, and it just knocks us out in a couple hits. Of course, the problem with Quick Claw strats is that we cannot heal in this battle. Now, we did get the Quick Claw to activate there so that we got a couple of Mud Slaps on, but we're only doing 4 damage per hit with Mud Slap. So I guess I'm just going to see one last time what the range is with our Swift, but we may be giving up on this one and having to go max power return. So return does 16 damage here, which would mean that return is a 5-hit KO on this Pokemon. Without a crit, here it goes rollout, and just 2 rollouts is enough to knock us out. So the only hope I think we have is to use return, because we don't have any other stronger moves that will do enough damage here. And while we would love to use some growls or what have you there, just the damage range, even after we try to set up the Mud Slap, isn't going to be enough. So just like that, we're going max power return on this one. I don't know if this is even going to be enough, honestly. Like, I know we got through with Pidgey on this, but Pidgey was at least able to set up a bunch of accuracy drops, and it had quick attack. There were other things that at least gave it a chance here. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about this Doduo. I'm going back to the Goldberry so that we get the heal, but let's see the ranges with return. Of course, a max power return does over half. Then we get a sand attack. That is kind of bad. Out comes the Miltank though. Let's just see if we can hit return and what the damage range is. We did 24 damage there, so it's a 3-hit KO. Obviously a 2-hitter if we can get a crit. So let's try this one again here, because now with this better range, we can get through the Clefairy very reasonably. And now it's just a matter of, can we get the Mud Slap to work to get that miss that we need? We're going to need a couple misses in this fight. Here she misses a rollout though, and we actually managed to knock her out. So what I found was this. You actually do need to take a little bit of damage from the Clefairy so that you get in a range where rollout takes you into yellow health, heal up with that Goldberry, and then you at least will survive the next rollout. And that means that you'll have the chance to go for the crit or the chance to get a lucky miss like that and be able to get through. So is this one consistent? Absolutely not. Do I think we're going to do great in the next section? Not really. I mean, like, sure, we know Pursuit. I know that's what people are going to say. You know Pursuit. That will be good against Ghosts. But we don't have a great special attack stat. And so that makes me feel like that move's probably not going to do as much as we want it to. Still, Doduo does get through. And obviously, it's using max power return to get a reasonable enough range to get through that fight, just like Pidgey before. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see how this Pokemon goes. Tri attack may help if we get there, but I think we're definitely doing the lighthouse with this Pokemon in the next section. So with that done, we're up to 69 Pokemon passing through this section. Very nice. And we had to add one more to the struggle or OPTMs section. But now there's actually something that I forgot to put into the overlay. You see, last time I asked a question, how would an Abra perform if it actually got some sort of move? Well, community member Celtic 3650 V2, or maybe it might be Celtic, you tell me which one you prefer the pronunciation to be, dropped a super chat requesting to do this exact thing. Now for super chats, I will take a Pokemon for one episode and test it out. After this, if it's going to continue, it's going to have to be supported by a channel member. But let's just see if an Abra can manage to get through. But there was a little bit of caveat. I can't just choose any good move that I wanted to give this Pokemon. We're going to have to run it with a Zap Cannon. So we have to go all the way back to the start of the game in order to use this Abra, of course. And with only Zap Cannon with a 50% accuracy, this could be really bad. The only thing that I think is going to carry this Pokemon is the fact that it's quite fast. Now, the whole issue here is going to be the fact that Zap Cannon is only a 5 PP move. So we're not going to be doing very well in terms of the PP situation. We're going to have to be hoping that that paralysis is enough to get us through some opponents. Now, for the sake of simplicity, I've made it so that we have no other moves. Don't worry about the fact that it says we have 20 PP there. It's going to correct itself when we get to Mr. Pokemon's house. But yeah, this is going to be kind of rough, I think, if it's even possible. Outside of that, we may need to come back with a punchy Abra instead and see if that is enough to get through, because I'm not super confident in this one move run, Celtic. So of course, against rival number 1, we'll test out the Zap Cannon. Of course, we get the paralysis. We did 5 damage there, so this should be just enough to get us through this fight with 5 PP. In fact, we ended up having to struggle because we missed, but we do get through the rival 1 fight. That's a massive improvement from before, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. So coming into Falkner's gym, we're of course going to have to use a berry here if we're going to have any shot of getting through. But let's see what Zap Cannon does against this first Spearow. So Honest Abe's Spearow is in a speed tie with Abra. So if we can just outspeed, we'll be able to knock it out, I think. That being said, it got a 2-hit range and we didn't even activate the berry. So this could be tough. Here, however, we hit Zap Cannon and we get a 1-hit KO. So just like that, we get a move through Honest Abe and we're on to Rodney, who we know isn't that hard. So let's make our way to Falkner. We're coming into the Falkner fight. Abra is at level 9 with 26 HP. We know Zap Cannon, and we've got 11 attack, 10 defense, 26 special attack, 17 special defense, and 24 speed. So we're gonna outspeed here. Let's see if this is possibly enough. So against the first Pidgey, Zap Cannon is a 1-hit KO. We are faster than the Pidgeotto, and Zap Cannon gets the 1-hitter as well. So we are moving on with Abra at this point. That's actually pretty darn good. So just like that, we're going to move on to Bugsy and rival number 2 and see if we have any shot there. Of course, if we have trouble in the rocket section in the Slowpoke well, I'll mention it, but otherwise we'll just get straight through those fights. Now, of course, the big issue with Zap Cannon in here is the fact that it's 50% accurate. So we've taken a couple resets on the rocket section so far, just because we missed too many. And it's especially this third rocket grunt here. Here, if we don't hit all the Zap Cannons, Zubat's leech life is way too strong and we actually get knocked out pretty darn easily. But of course, if we hit Zap Cannon, it's a 1-hit KO on those Zubats. Still, with only 5 PP, we have to run out all the time to heal up and we have to save before every single trainer. However, we do make it to Jamesy Proton at the end, and this is looking to be a 2-hit KO with Zap Cannon, so we get through on the first attempt there, and we're up to level 14. Now, I don't think we're going to do great against either of the main bosses here, but we're going to take on the randos inside of the gym first, just so that we get the extra XP. So after one more reset on the Paris trainer because of the fact that it resisted Zap Cannon, we have managed to get through at level 15 with our Abra. We're coming in with 37 HP to the Bugsy fight, and we have 16 attack, 15 defense, 41 special attack, 26 special defense, and 37 speed. I am not super confident that we're getting through this, but I am giving the berry just to be safe. I think this is a higher probability than going and fighting against the rival, so we're just going to take it. Let's see. So first up is Metapod, of course. Zap Cannon does one-shot there. We get to level 16 as the Scyther comes out. Now, of course, Fury Cutter has to build up. It goes for quick attack instead. We paralyze it, and then we knock it out on the next turn. Out comes Kakuna. We missed the Zap Cannon both times, and now Struggle just, I don't think is going to be enough. So we're going to lose this first attempt, I think, just to our Struggle. And sure enough, we just don't survive. Poison Sting takes us down. So we clearly just need the Zap Cannons to hit, and we can win here. Let's try this one again. This time Scyther goes Fury Cutter, and 2 hits from Fury Cutter is enough to knock us out. So back to the Kakuna with 1 Zap Cannon, and we miss. That's all she wrote for that one. We don't have enough HP. Third time's the charm? Nope. We still fail, but we've got the berry on, so I'm gonna just try this one. We get poisoned though, and I think that's all there is to say about this one. We can miss exactly 1 Zap Cannon in a run here, so if we ever miss 2 Zap Cannons, we already know to just reset at that point. So back to Kakuna for the 4th time. It's taken 12 attempts, and we once again miss Zap Cannon. Attempt number 19, back to Kakuna, and another miss. We have never managed to hit in like 4 attempts there against the Kakuna, which is incredibly bad luck, but certainly possible when you're using such an inaccurate move. And I'm pretty sure that this Kakuna is using Protect rather than Harden. That's the only explanation for why we never hit. Once again, we miss. So that's like 6 in a row that we've missed against that Kakuna. Finally, on attempt 26, we actually hit the Kakuna and we managed to get through and get to level 17. We would normally evolve into a Kadabra at this point, but unfortunately that is not an option for our Abra. We have to go with just Zap Cannon and now try to beat our rival. The only way I see this happening is if for some reason he decides to send the Zubat out second, at least giving us the chance to knock that Pokemon out with a Zap Cannon. And if we can hit all of the Zap Cannons, maybe we get that Bayleaf into a range where we can actually struggle it down. I am not super confident though. We're going to give the berry. Let's find out. So we missed the first Zap Cannon on Ghastly, but the second one does knock it out. Zubat does come out second, so we do get to knock that Pokemon out and get to level 18. Bayleaf comes out. We paralyze it. It's fully paralyzed. Then it poisons us. And now we're using Struggle, but man, that Razor Leaf is going to do a lot of damage. And with Poison, we're simply not getting through. Let's try this one again. So here, Zap Cannon one-shots Ghastly again. It one-shots the Zubat again. We get to the Bayleaf. We are faster than the Bayleaf. We paralyze it turn 1. It goes Reflect. We miss the second Zap Cannon. We hit the third Zap Cannon. It poisons us. And now we're using Struggle, and now Razor Leaf is the entire issue. So I think we have to hit all 5 Zap Cannons in order to make this work, and then we're going to have to hope for some luck beyond that as well. Now it would be ideal if we get a nice critical hit here as well. We get it there. Bayleaf is fully paralyzed. Okay, we missed the next one, but here we're using Struggle, and a critical hit Razor Leaf takes us out. If we had just hit one more Zap Cannon though, I think we would have won that one. So here we land the first of our 3 remaining Zap Cannons on Bayleaf with a crit. Of course, it paralyzes. We missed the second one and it goes Growl on us, and we missed the third. So just like that, we're just not going to have enough HP, I don't think, to be able to get through here. But he goes for Growl a second time, and that actually enables us to get through at that point. So Abra, funny enough, it only took a small eternity and 44 resets to get to this point, but we did manage to beat Bugsy and rival number 2 with only Zap Cannon, which I just find hilarious. Obviously, this is not the ideal moveset for this Pokemon, but we've made it. We are on to Whitney. So now I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to get the moves that I've always actually wanted to use in this section. Let's go get some elemental punches so that we've actually got some nice type coverage and we're ready to go. We actually come in with 9,000 Poké Dollars, so we have enough money to actually get all 3 of the elemental punches here. So we're just going to slap all 3 of them onto Abra immediately. And just like that, we finally have some type coverage and enough PP to not just rely on crazy luck with Zap Cannon. So we're going to come to the underground now, where with our super effective moves, I think we're going to be fine here. Of course, I'm trying to go Zap Cannon on the Slowpokes just because I want to one-shot them, but I don't know, Thunder Punch might be enough here, and it is, of course. So we'll now move on to Teru, where this is a Fire Punch spot if I ever had to guess. So let's just spam the Fire Punch and get the easy one-shots on these Magnemites. Even the Voltorb goes down in one hit. So we can easily knock out all of these Pokemon, get the coin case, and we're good to go. And of course, because we don't need a lot of TMs, we can simply sell them for money with this Pokemon to make sure that we actually have enough to get our couple of Abras that we're going to get, because we're going to have one Abra that is going to be a teleport Abra, and then 1 to trade away in order to get our Machop. Because our main Abra is far too important to use teleport in this one. We have to get some support Abras to get this one to go. But just like that, we've completed everything else. It's time to go to Whitney's gym and find out if it's possible to beat her with an Abra that just has all of these special moves. We will get 1 level up before the gym leader. Maybe we'll be able to outspeed here. And if we can, I feel reasonably good about our odds. First up though, we have to get through Scary Carry and Snubbull. I kind of want to Zap Cannon this Pokemon because Bite is scary, and yeah, with Zap Cannon then maybe Thunder Punch can finish it off. Sure enough, it does, and we're able to move on at level 20, and we're just going to be able to outspeed that Miltank. And just like that, I'm going to give a Gold Berry, of course, because we don't have great HP. I think we're going to need the Gold Berry to heal up at some point, just because I think even Double Slap's going to do crazy damage here. But with that, let's save the game and check the stats as we come into Whitney. We're at level 20 with 47 HP. Zap Cannon, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, and Fire Punch is the moveset for Abra. And we've got 21 attack, 19 defense, 54 special attack, 34 special defense, and 49 speed. So we have like no defense. I think this is the lowest defense stat we've gotten here with up to this point. Not super confident, but let's see how it goes. So on the first attempt against Whitney, I'm going to just Ice Punch here on the Clefairy. We'd have a chance to freeze it. Ice Punch did slightly less than half, so I think Zap Cannon is required in order to get a 2-hit range on this Pokemon. Sure enough, we can knock it out, but we already used the Gold Berry. I'm just Zap Cannoning here on the Miltank so that we hopefully get it to not be able to move, but Stomp just one-shot us. So that's the issue. Stomp probably just kills us. We're going to need some really good luck here. So here, I'm going to Zap Cannon this time on the Clefairy. It goes for Double Slap, which does massive damage, but then we'll just knock it out with a Thunder Punch. And now I'm actually going to Ice Punch here on the Miltank. We're going for the Freeze strat. That's right. I think this is the way to get through, is to freeze the Miltank. And since we know that Zap Cannon, as long as it hits, will make the Clefairy a 2-hit range, I think that's perfectly fine to go for this. Here we get a critical hit turn 2 with Ice Punch, and she went rollout for some reason. So we are able to heal with the Gold Berry, and Ice Punch finishes it. So just like that, Abra manages to beat Whitney. Oh, that's ridiculous. I didn't think that this Pokemon was going to get through Rival 2, honestly. Even still, probably it doesn't deserve to get through Rival 2, but hey, as long as you get the right range, get that critical hit, and you hit enough Zap Cannons, you can get it to go. Abra at level 21 has gotten 3 gym badges with Zap Cannon, and now once we got to Goldenrod, we added on Elemental Punches. That is ridiculous. And of course, this Pokemon has such good coverage with the Elemental Punches. I bet it can go pretty far, but somebody's going to have to pick it up if we're going to see it in the next section. Of course, we don't have any Psychic type moves, so we don't get that advantage on Morty. We're just going to have to hope that a move like Zap Cannon is enough. But with that, I'm just going to give a massive thank you, Celtic, however you prefer to pronounce it. Thank you so much for supporting. I appreciate the super chat. And like I said, super chats, I'm perfectly fine to entertain them for one episode. If you want to keep it going though, channel membership, that's the way to go. Anyway, that was fun. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the proper challenge now. So with that out of the way, let's get to our water types in this one. Though a couple of them are effectively more ice types than water types. Let's look at Dewgong, let's look at Cloyster. We've also got a Kingler. Let's just compare these Pokemon up and see how they go through this section. In fact, we'll also throw Qwilfish and Sneasel in here, even though they're a little bit different than these Pokemon, because we've got some water ice action going. And let's just see if all of these Pokemon can manage to get through, starting with Dewgong. So of course, Dewgong has done pretty well up to this point because it started the game with Headbutt and it has access to the move Aurora Beam. So we should be reasonably good here, I think, just due to our same type of attack bonus in that move. Now with that being said, we're not going to be fast enough to get the main benefit of Headbutt, which is of course flinches on our opponents. So we're going to have to hope that we can find other ways to get through here. We're not quite going to get to Rest either. Rest obviously will help this Pokemon a lot later on because it will give it a way to heal in battle outside of just using berries. But for now, we're simply going to just run with the moveset that we've got. And here I realized that I still had Zap Cannon in from the Abra. We're going to fix that real quick. Still, even Headbutt was enough to just get us through all of the trainers in the underground, and we can move on. Now, of course, as an ice type, the big issue that we're going to have is that we're weak against rollout. Of course, Aurora Beam does have a chance to lower the opponent's attack stat, and that could help us out. Outside of that though, there's really not a lot available to us as far as TMs that we could possibly use here, so we're just gonna have to hope that this is enough with our Dewgong. So coming into the gym, of course, against Scary Carry, we're just gonna sit here and spam Aurora Beam. I don't think there's any better play than this. It's looking like a 3-hit KO with this move. Charm obviously doesn't matter to Aurora Beam though, and we easily get through. So I'm simply giving the Goldberry here, and let's just check the stats as we come in. We tried to headbutt Whitney, it didn't work. So instead, we're gonna come in at level 17 with 64 HP, Aurora Beam, Growl, and Headbutt on the moveset, and we've got 35 attack, 38 defense, 35 special attack, 43 special defense, and 35 speed. Lots of 35s there. We're not gonna outspeed that Dewgong, but let's just see if we can deal enough damage. So first up on the Clefairy, here we actually can headbutt, and we're faster so we can flinch this Pokemon even. Double Slap's not going to do that much, though a 5-hitter does decent enough damage, and it's critting. So yeah, we took decent damage there after the fact, just due to the fact that it hit so many times. Now Miltank goes for Rollout. We're going Aurora Beam as we heal up. The Aurora Beam did 18 damage here, so this is a 4-hit KO with this move, and Rollout simply will do too much in that case. We probably need a better range against that first Clefairy in order to get a decent run on this one. This time we get a flinch, and we got Spite, and we get another flinch, so Clefairy goes down and we're on full health to the Miltank. Let's try this again. I'm actually going to growl at this Pokemon once just to see, and of course if it ever misses with Rollout would be perfectly fine, but we actually might not want to growl there. We want to get below half health, I think, so that we can heal with our berry. So next attempt back to the Miltank, and it just simply knocked us out. We took a little bit too much damage from the first Clefairy. So back to the Miltank yet again. We've gotten it down to 30 HP remaining. A critical hit will one-shot if we can survive. We simply could not. Now, of course, the other way that we could get through here is simply by getting a miss from the Miltank. Now, at that point, we should be basically golden to win every single time. So it's just going to come down to an awful lot of luck. This time we got through to the Miltank on full health. We get a heal with the Goldberry. It misses the Rollout, and now it goes for Milk Drink because it knows that we've already basically won. We're getting her in a kind of healing loop here. She goes Stomp and gets a critical hit that time. She Milk Drinks again, and now she goes for Rollout, and we get the range to finally knock her out after 6 attempts. So it's pretty clear you have to get through the Clefairy on full health with this Pokemon, and then you have to simply manage to land enough hits. And yeah, she can go for that whole like milk drink strategy, but if she doesn't miss the Rollout, as long as you can survive the third one and you can get a critical hit, you will win that fight. So you have 3 shots at a critical hit. It's definitely not super consistent, but possible. And honestly, if you did a little bit of training, you'd probably be just fine there. That being said, this is a max DV's Dewgong, so a lower DV's Dewgong probably gets wrecked in that fight. But with that Pokemon done, now let's check out Cloyster, another water ice Pokemon that's going to be dealing with the same type weakness against Rollout, but honestly I think is going to have a stronger advantage in this fight. Let's see if it gets through even easier. Now of course, Cloyster's whole issue in Gen 2 is that its special defense was nerfed pretty darn hard, but it still remains with its claim to fame being that it has the highest defense stat basically outside of a meme Pokemon like Shuckle in the game. And that means that we should take a lot less damage from Whitney even when she's using a super effective Rollout. Of course, she can overcome that by just hitting enough times with Rollout and doubling the damage over and over again. But before that even happens, I think we're going to use a whole bunch of withdraws so that we get a better range there. And of course, we also have access to Protect with this Pokemon, so we can break up the Rollouts pretty darn easily. So really the biggest issue is just that we don't have any type coverage at this point with our current moveset. We might actually want to learn something over Supersonic so that we can actually deal different types of damage. Like we could learn Swift if we wanted to. I don't think we need it at this point, but we'll just have to see. Of course, the Magnemites in the underground do resist Aurora Beams, so they're 2-hit KOs here. We actually get the range on that second one, but it's going to take another 2 hits to take out the third Magnemite. Fortunately, Voltorb doesn't know any electric moves, so we will get through this fight just fine. fine. So coming into the gym now, of course, we don't have anything to worry about against this Snubbull. Like, sure, it can bite or lick. We don't really care. We're easily going to get through. So with that, it's just time to come into Whitney, where I absolutely still think we want to give a gold berry to this one just because of our type weakness. And we are coming in with Cloyster at level 16 with 48 HP. Aurora Beam, Supersonic, Withdraw, and Protect is our moveset. We have 41 attack, 68 defense, 38 special attack, 25 special defense, and 33 speed. Let's see how this goes. So first up on the Clefairy, I'm actually going to set up Withdraw here at least a couple times. It uses extreme speed. I don't think that really matters. Snore doesn't really matter. Poison Gas misses. Double Slap's not going to do much. Double Kick will do reasonable damage, but fortunately we've got so much defense now, it shouldn't really matter. And now Aurora Beam looks to be a 3-hit KO on this Pokemon. I don't even care that I just used my berry here, because I basically just wanted to have really good defense for the Miltank. So now here my strategy is going to actually be to Supersonic here, and then we'll just protect against the rollout after that. But I think ideally we want to confuse this Pokemon and then just protect ourselves against its rollouts, and then we can go for Aurora Beam here. Aurora Beam did 18 damage, so this is a 4-hit KO. We'll just protect again here and then go back to the Aurora Beam, and we're not quite getting the range that I wanted to see here with our Aurora Beam. It managed to flinch us with a Stomp. We're gonna have to protect one last time and hope that we can survive. It Milk Drinks, and that is pretty much what we didn't want to see, so we get knocked out on the first attempt. So let's try this again. Maybe we don't want to go that hard on Withdraw in this one, I'm not sure. So I'll just set up a couple Withdraws, and now I'll just go all in on Aurora Beam, trying to knock out this Clefairy as quick as possible. We just don't have great special attack here. Next, against the Miltank, I'm not going to waste time. I'm simply going to go for Aurora Beam, and I misclicked, but I'm intended to use Protect here just so that we can stop it from being able to hit its rollout. It goes Stomp for some flinches, but we're still in a reasonable range here. We'll Protect here. She's probably gonna Milk Drink after this, and she gets a critical hit rollout. Without the crit, I think we'd be fine, but there she stomps us down once again. So I think we actually have to get Supersonic to go on that Miltank if we're gonna have any decent shot here. So back to Miltank again, we're gonna go for Supersonic to start, and then go for Protect to break up that rollout. And now we'll go for some Aurora Beam as it starts to hit itself in confusion multiple times. It goes for rollout again. I think we'll survive the next hit, so just like that, we can in fact get through. So we just need a little bit of confusion luck to get through that one, but Cloyster does make it work, but surprisingly not as easy as I thought it would be. Now, of course, Cloyster is in the slow level up group, so it doesn't get as many levels as other Pokemon here, but I thought with its massive defense plus Protect plus Withdraw, it would just completely crush there. It's actually a lot closer than I thought. It actually takes a little bit of strategy to get that one to go. That being said, Protect is pretty strong, and we're going to get access to Surf in the next section, so we're going to have another same type move. So I think we're going to be pretty strong. We'll just have to see how it goes. So up next is our Kingler, and Kingler used Fury Cutter in order to get through Rival 2's Bayleaf in the last section. We've seen Fury Cutter be pretty OP in this section as well, so as long as we can get the setup, I think we're good to go. We also have Vice Grip, which is a pretty decent normal type move, so in spite of the fact that we're not going to get a ton of TMs here, we should still be pretty darn good. So coming into the gym, I don't even think we need to mess with Fury Cutter on carry. We can simply go for the Vice Grip. It appears to be a 3-hit KO. Nice and easy. So now it's on to Whitney, where we can check the stats. Kingler is at level 17 with 52 HP, Vice Grip, Fury Cutter, Bubble, and Harden on the moveset. And we've got 55 attack, 50 defense, 28 in both specials, and 37 speed. Our high attack and defense, I think, is going to carry us. Let's see how it goes. So for this first one, I'm not even going to mess with any Hardens. Let's just go straight in on the Fury Cutters and see how we can build this one up in order to hopefully knock out this Clefairy. And here, sure enough, we don't miss any Fury Cutters. We make it to Miltank. It goes for rollout. We just one-shot it with a critical hit Fury Cutter there, and we easily win on the first attempt. Didn't even need to use the berry that we had on. We didn't even mess with a gold berry on Kingler, because really with these Fury Cutter, Rage, rollout type of strats, as long as you don't miss, you don't really need that much luck to get through this fight. In fact, I'm pretty much willing to bet that any Pokemon that learns Fury Cutter or rollout would win this fight eventually against Whitney. So we may have found a situation where the gym leaders are out of order. In fact, it seems to me that in Gen 2 in particular, the gym leaders might actually be completely out of order, where the previous gym leader should beat the next gym leader in a lot of situations. Like, consider, Falkner should be able to beat Bugsy. We're finding out that Bugsy would definitely be able to beat Whitney. Whitney, I mean, she is using rollout strats. I guess she could probably beat Morty. Morty would beat Chuck. Chuck would beat Jasmine. What is this nonsense? Yeah, Jasmine would beat Price. Price would beat Claire. The gym leaders are in backwards order in Gen 2. That's ridiculous. Now that might sound like, oh, it's just, part of the game. But remember, Gen 1, it's the opposite, right? Misty beats Brock. Surge beats Misty. You could technically say Erica beats Surge because she resists electric. Koga definitely beats Erica. Sabrina beats Koga. Not sure if Blaine beats Sabrina, but that's a fair toss-up. Giovanni, ground type, rock types definitely beat Blaine. So generally speaking, in Gen 1, the next gym leader had an advantage on the previous gym leader. And in Gen 2, it's like the opposite, where like the next gym leader is actually weak against the previous gym leader. That's ridiculous. So yeah. Turns out that when you get good moves from some of these gym leaders, they're going to help you crush the next gym. But with Kingler done, now let's look at Qwilfish, a Pokemon that I'm not as confident in because it doesn't have as strong a moves. We're just going to have to see if we can find a way through. Now, Qwilfish, of course, relied very heavily on Minimize in the last section to get through. And so Minimize, while it will increase our evasion, is also not going to be great against Whitney's Miltank if it starts stomping us. That being said, we can still get enough misses, I think, to get through this one. We also have Harden on the moveset if we just want to increase our defense. Still, Poison might be really, really important here. And here against Teru, I'm even going to use Minimize strats to try to get through these Magnemites. The good thing about Minimize, of course, is that it doesn't wear off or change when you swap Pokemon. That's what makes evasion strats superior to accuracy strats, is they stay on as long as your Pokemon's still alive and out there. So we can do all this setup on the Clefairy and then just try to use that in order to get through the Miltank. Now, we also do have Rollout on the moveset, so that will be our next attempt if our current moveset is not enough to get us through. In fact, this Pokemon's probably going to want to go Rollout at least in the next section, just so that it has something better to hit ghosts with. I mean, Surf will also help. So here coming into the gym, we're just going to go straight to Scary Carry, where I'm not going to mess with anything here. Let's just go all in on Swift, and it's going to take quite a few hits because we got charmed, but still it's an easy victory. But now it's time for Qwilfish to go into the Whitney fight, where we're at level 17 with 55 HP. Swift, Harden, Poison, Sting, and Minimize on the moveset, and we've got 43 attack, 37 defense, 30 in both specials, and 40 speed. So we're not going to outspeed here. Let's go ahead and get this Gold Berry on and just see if we can manage to win. So the first thing that I'm going to do, of course, is start setting up all the Minimize right here on the Clefairy. We don't even really care if we end up having to use our berry here, and it used Whirlwind on us, so we sent out Sentret. No. Oh man. So let's try this again. Let's hope that we get better luck against the metronomes here. So just like that, we do get all the setup done. I'm also going to set up Harden just so that we have more defense. We don't really care that our opponent uses Minimize because Swift always hits. So we did have to heal on the Clefairy, but we did get through just fine. Out next is the Miltank. I'm actually going to use Poison Sting to try to poison this Pokemon. Once we got the poison on, now we will go all in on the Swifts. And because we've got so much defense, even when she did hit Stomp, it didn't do that much damage. And she's just going to be kind of stuck getting poisoned, getting hit with Swift. We easily win on the second attempt. As long as she doesn't Whirlwind us to force a Sentret out, we're going to be able to win that fight. That is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Phasing moves could ruin our solo runs because they force out a different Pokemon. But with that, Qwilfish is through. There's one last Pokemon in this water ice set to check out. It is, of course, Sneasel, the the Ice Dark type. I'm a little worried, of course, because it is going to be weak against Rollout, but I think we had Fury Cutter, so I think it's going to be okay. Now, we did not need Fury Cutter in the last section. We actually went with the Mud Slaps to get through the Quilava, but here Fury Cutter's probably the upgraded move that we're going to be looking for. We also get Dig, Ice Punch, and Headbutt, so there are plenty of options for Sneasel to try to get through this section. With that being said, I'm going to stick with my moveset as much as I possibly can, though I think Ice Punch is also a very good upgraded move for this Pokemon. So I am going to at least buy Ice Punch just to have it in the bag. Even if we don't need it in this section, I'm sure we're going to need it at some point with Sneasel, since it is effectively our best legitimate same type move that we're going to be able to get for quite a while. So of course, coming into the gym, we expect Scary Carry not to be scary at all, so we're simply going to spam Swift and get an easy 3-hit KO on our Snubbull. We level up to level 20 here thanks to our medium slow level up group, and we're ready to take on the gym leader. So checking the stats at level 20, we've got 59 HP, Swift, Screech, Quick Attack, and Mud Slap is the current moveset with the Gold Berry on just to make sure that we can get a nice heal. We've got 51 attack, 35 defense, 26 special attack, 42 special defense, and 59 speed. So we're gonna outspeed nicely, but let's see if it's enough. So here against Whitney, attempt number 1, Swift did about half to the first Clefairy, so it's an easy 2-hit KO. And since we outspeed Miltank, I'm just gonna go all in on attack first. Let's see the ranges. We did 12 damage with that first Swift. So I think we have to Mud Slap here to stop her from rolling out. She stomps, which does a lot of damage, but now I'm going to Screech at the Miltank to lower its defense. That gets us a much better range, and just like that, we can get through with 2 more hits from Swift. Didn't even need to go Ice Punch or Fury Cutter. We can simply get through with Swift and Screech and a little bit of luck from the Mud Slaps. Not too bad. And just like that, Sneasel gets to move on. We've had basically no major issues with these Pokemon, though I was kind of surprised that it took multiple attempts to get through with Cloyster and Dewgong. We still continue that same trend of Whitney not really being that hard as long as you get decent moves, or in the case of Sneasel, if you outspeed and have good attack, you can get through just fine. And this is a Pokemon whose speed is high enough that even with lower DVs, you would still be outspeeding there, so you could still go for the exact same strategy, even though you'd be taking a little bit more damage. So coming back to the main view, we're up to 74 Pokemon through now. Nothing has struggled at this point outside of that Doduo, and even there, I mean, return was enough, so nothing has added to the fail column so far. So now we've got 8 challengers remaining, 4 from Kanto, 4 from Johto. Let's get into Muck first. Let's see if we can just run amok on this gym. So of course, Muck had to use Mud Slap in the last section in order to get through Rival 2, but we can also learn all of the elemental punches in this section if we need just a little more coverage. And in fact, I think that's probably going to be the best play, just because it's going to give us a little bit more potential to deal damage to opponents. And keep in mind that even in the next section against Morty, Mud Slap isn't that strong, so it's probably going to be good to replace these moves with something a little bit better. Because even after buying all of the elemental punches, we can just sell the other TMs that we don't need to have enough money to be able to get our Abras. Now, I'm not going to learn these moves immediately, but I am going to have them in the bag because I think they're going to be super important for Muck going forward, because it doesn't have a whole lot of other TMs that it can learn. Now, of course, against these Slowpokes in the underground, we don't even care. We can simply pound and easily get through those. And now against Teru, we already know Mud Slap, so we're just going to spam that move in order to easily get through these Magnemites. Still, it's good to know that we could learn a move like Fire Punch in order to get through Steel types later on. We don't just have to rely on Mud Slap to get through. I think that at least gives Muck a pretty big advantage against a lot of other poison types that might not get enough coverage to reliably get through Steel types later on. But now we can simply get into the gym. I'm going to stick with my moveset as is for now, where I think we can even just pound down Carrie's Snubbull. We can see it's not doing massive amounts of damage by any means, so we may actually have to upgrade our moveset to get through Whitney. I'm not sure, but let's test this out. So I will give the Gold Berry just to be safe. And coming into the Whitney fight, we have a level 17 Muck with 69 HP. Very nice. And we're coming in with Pound, Poison Gas, Harden, and Mud Slap. So my strategy is going to be to poison the Miltank, I think, and use a bunch of Mud Slaps on it with really high defense from Harden. I think that will get us through. Now to the stats, we've got 47 attack, 37 defense, 33 special attack, 45 special defense, and 28 speed. Let's just see if this is enough. So first up against the Clefairy, I'm just going to spam Harden here. I think this is our best play. It used Psychic on us with Metronome. That was terrible. Of course, that's going to result in it doing a lot of damage to us. So we're probably going to end up having to use our Berry here on the first Pokemon. It even meditates. But now with all of our setup done, we're simply going to go in for Pound. And this is looking to be probably a 4 or 5 hit KO just because the Clefairy also was able to use Harden from us. But we do get through. We get to level 18. Now on to the Miltank, where I'm simply going to start Mud Slapping. It's going for rollout strats. Of course, rollout is kind of good against an opponent that used a lot of Hardens because it doubles damage every time, so it knocked us out. Let's try this again. In fact, we might be best off using some Mud Slaps on the Clefairy too, just in order to get it to hit us a little bit less, and then go for the Hardens. So now we're on higher defense here, and now we can pound this Pokemon down. It goes for Minimize, but we're able to knock it out. Out next comes the Miltank. Once again, I'm going to poison this Pokemon. Let's go for the Pound here. We heal up with the Goldberry, and now it misses a rollout, so we can just go into all of our Mud Slaps while it's poisoned. Plus it has really low accuracy, and now we'll just take it to Pound Town where it doesn't have a chance. We easily win on the second attempt. So just like that, Muck is through, and I expect that we're probably going to end up learning at least one Elemental Punch in the next section, just in order to have more coverage. Like against the rivals starter, of course, we can get a super effective move that way. If for nothing else, then some of the Kimono girls will be able to use more super effective moves there. But Fire Punch might just be a good move to learn in general, just in order to have it for the steel types later on down the line. Though something like Thunder Punch could help against Chuck's Poliwrath. So there's a lot of options that we could use going forward with this Pokemon. We could even forget an Elemental Punch and relearn it later. We'll just have to see what strategy works, but for now, Muck is through. Now let's look at Hypno, the other Pokemon that's fully evolved and the last in its line. I expect a Psychic type to completely destroy this section though. Now Hypno is potentially overpowered because it gets the Elemental Punches, but it also gets Nightmare and can actually use it, unlike the Alakazam line, because it actually has a sleep move to use that move with. I could honestly see this Pokemon even outperforming the Alakazam line because it will get Meditate later on, and really you could see a situation where you just like Meditate, Hypnosis, Nightmare, and like one other attacking move in order to knock out all of your opponents. For now though, we'll simply stick with what we've got, which means we'll just take these Slowpokes in the underground to Pound Town, and we should get through these fights nice and easy. And fortunately, we can just sell TMs that we don't need in order to get money, so we can simply come here and pick up all of the Elemental Punches and just have them in the bag in case we need them for our Hypno. And with that, we're ready to get into the gym, and let's just see how we do against Scary Carrie and Whitney. First, against the Snubbull, I'm just going to spam Confusion. It's going to be a 3-hit KO from the looks of things, but really not too bad. Even Bite didn't do that much damage to us. So now we can come into the gym leader with Hypno at level 17. We'll level up just after the Clefairy, and we've got 62 HP. We know Confusion, Hypnosis, Disable, and Pound at the moment. And we're coming in with 36 attack, 35 defense, 36 special attack, 50 special defense, and 34 speed. So not great attacking stats and definitely not great defense, but let's just see if it's enough. So here against the Clefairy, I think there's nothing to do but just use Confusion over and over again. This is going to be a 4-hit KO from the looks of things. And Double Slap is building up an awful lot of damage, a lot more than I thought. I didn't give the Goldberry because I didn't think I would need it. But here against the Miltank, I do think the strategy is to put this Pokemon to sleep. It goes for Attract right away on us. We do still manage to get it to sleep though, so now I'm going to go for Confusion. It did 14 damage there, really not as much as I would have expected. Granted, the special split wasn't great to Hypno and Gen 2, and the fact that we've been attracted is the real issue here. So we lose the first attempt. Let's try this one again. So this time I'm actually going to try to put the Clefairy to sleep just so that I get through with more HP, and it used Super Fang. I'm just going to reset there. Third attempt, we do get Clefairy to sleep, and now we can go into our confusion. And as long as it stays asleep, we'll just get through with decent health. Here it goes for withdrawal after it does wake up, so we're perfectly fine there. Miltank comes out, we're still on full health. We put it to sleep turn 1, and now I'm simply going to spam confusion while it sleeps. And as long as it stays asleep long enough, we should be fine. It wakes up and goes for rollout. I don't think that matters. We easily win on the second attempt. So sleep, of course, remains another completely OP strategy. And honestly, if we had learned basically any of the elemental punches, we would have been pretty fine there too. Nightmare strats could have come into play, all kinds of things. We were going to get through with this Pokemon one way or another. And now it's on to the Morty section where, yet again, because this Pokemon has sleep, honestly, it could progress pretty far in the game just with a Quick Claw. Because if there's a situation where we just need to outspeed one opponent, for example, on rival number 3's team, maybe we need to outspeed his first Haunter. Well, we simply throw on the Quick Claw and reset for that 10% chance in order to outspeed and put it to sleep turn 1. It's about the same luck as getting a critical hit. That's about where I'm going to cap it, is just using one Quick Claw activation, but still, there will be spots like that in the game where we literally just need to outspeed one opponent so that we can put them to sleep, set up, and then just sweep the team from there. So Hypno is done, Muck is done. Let's get the last two Kanto Pokemon. It's time for Gengar and Haunter. Now Gengar, of course, has higher special attack, so it's going to do a lot more damage if it does go for some elemental punches. And of course, this Pokemon also gets access to Nightmare, but we also were able to get access to Curse in the last section, and that's really the strategy that we might be going for. In fact, I'd be very interested to see a Curse Nightmare stack. That could be insane. Wait just a second, because if we can do that, then that might be the most broken strategy in the entire game. We're just gonna have to see. So we will go ahead and pick up the elemental punches for this Pokemon just in case, because yet again, they could be incredibly important later in the game, even if they're not necessary here. But in this section, I think we're gonna end up going for some sort of curse strat. Still, we don't currently have a move that can actually hit a normal type Pokemon, so I'm thinking I'm going to forget Lick in order to learn a new move. In fact, I'm just going to go for Nightmare here just because I want to see if I can manage to stack Curse and Nightmare. I don't know if that's actually possible, but if it is, that's ridiculous and I want to try it. So here against Scary Carry, let's just test this out here. I'm going to use Hypnosis first. We miss and it uses a Scary Face, but that doesn't really matter. Now we can Nightmare this Pokemon, and now we can Curse. And now the Pokemon is taking, yes, double the damage. And we can just use like Spite here and just let it go down. That is ridiculous, because you basically get a turn where you knock out 50% of their HP just like that. So with the Gold Berry on now, at level 20, Gengar's coming into this fight with 61 HP, and we're going to go for the trolliest strat ever. Curse, Nightmare, Hypnosis, and Spite. If we can Spite away all the PP and Rollout, then it literally can do nothing to us. So that's pretty much my idea. And we're going to come in with 39 attack, 37 defense, 64 special attack, 42 special defense, and 57 speed. Let's see how it goes. So first up, of course, we've got the Clefairy. I'm going to put this Pokemon to sleep and then just go Nightmare on it. It mimics Nightmare. We're going to try to put this Pokemon back to sleep at Barriers, and we'll just have to re-Nightmare it. It just didn't stay asleep long enough last time. And here we can just go Spite or whatever. It transformed into Gengar and it cursed. No, we're on the timer now. So there, that Pokemon does go down. We're faster than Miltank. Fortunately, we can put it to sleep. And now we've got to curse here, but we're just going to go down after this because of the curse that was put on us by that Clefairy. The transform is actually overpowered here. Let's try this again. So this time, once again, we get Clefairy to sleep. We Nightmare it. And I'm just going to sit here and use Spite for nothing because Clefairy's already asleep anyway. And just like that, it goes down this time. So we've gotten through to the Miltank on full health. We put it to sleep. I'm going to Nightmare it, hope that it stays asleep, and now I'm going to Curse. So now it's taking Curse and Nightmare damage. And now I'm just spamming Spite, and it's just going to go down the next turn. So just like that, we easily get through. We get to learn Nightshade now. I'm not sure if we actually need Nightshade though. What are we going to forget to learn Nightshade? I think we'd always have better moves than this. So I'm basically thinking that we're basically running Curse, Nightmare, Hypnosis, and one attacking move here. And that's basically our strategy for the rest of the run. But I'm going to keep Spite for now just in case, because this is just kind of hilarious to me. And just like that, Gengar does get through. And that basically tells us the exact same strategy that we can use with the Haunter. That just sounds completely ridiculous to me. But that could mean that these ghosts are honestly OP, because the fact that Curse can affect normal types and Nightmare can affect normal types when they're asleep basically is what makes this so completely overpowered in my opinion. Maybe it will be walled somewhere, but honestly, like, I don't see too much trouble with this strategy for quite a while. I see it getting us through basically everything eventually on minimum battles. And Haunter, I expect to use exactly the same strategy, except I'm going to experiment a little bit. I'm going to get rid of Spite here and keep Lick, so we have a damage dealing move, but I'm just learning Nightmare right away because we know that's the strategy we used with Gengar. We know that strategy is going to work eventually, so we may as well just run with it. But here basically we'll just run with Lick with this Pokemon, and that means that when we get to the Morty section, we'll have a super effective move to use against other ghosts. It also preserves a good damage dealing move here for the underground against these Slowpokes, where we can easily get through by just licking them. Now, of course, Haunter's big disadvantage compared to Gengar is that it doesn't learn the elemental punches, so it doesn't have quite as much type coverage, at least with TMs that we can get immediately. So we're going to have to rely a little bit more on this completely ridiculous strategy to get through. So here against Scary Carry, of course, we're going to put our Snubbull to sleep. We're going to Nightmare it, and then we're going to Curse. And as long as it stays asleep for enough turns, it will go down. So with that, we'll just simply slap on a Goldberry. We're at level 20 coming into Whitney with 55 HP. Haunter knows Curse, Lick, Nightmare, and Hypnosis. We've got a Goldberry on, of course. And we are coming in with 33 attack, 31 defense, 58 special attack, 34 special defense, and 51 speed. So we will outspeed the Miltank. Let's see if we can get this one to go. So first up, of course, against the Clefairy, we're going to put this Pokemon to sleep and then go for Nightmare. And then since we've got nothing better to do, we'll just spam a bunch of Lick PP and waste time while it hopefully just goes down from this move. And sure enough, it stays asleep long enough to get knocked out. Next, the Miltank, we actually missed the first Hypnosis. We hit the second one. Now we're going to Curse, and we can heal up with the Goldberry almost to full health. We'll Nightmare this Pokemon, and now it's taking Curse and Nightmare damage, and we can just use Lick and watch it go down the next turn. Once again, we can learn Nightshade. I'm actually not going to learn this move since it just does fixed damage. I would prefer to have Lick, which at least can scale with us. We can get something like Shadow Ball, of course. Later on, we can level up to learn moves like Dream Eater, which will be much better. And honestly, I think this Pokemon is just going to be going for a super trolly strategy for a long time. Like, if we get Confuse Ray on this set, imagine you put the opponent to sleep, you confuse them, then you go for Curse, then you go for Nightmare, and you just keep putting them back to sleep and just kind of using this super trolly strategy. Like, honestly, Kenya the Spearow, everybody just doesn't bother returning her, but man, Nightmare is overpowered, especially in a minimum battles run. Like, this move might actually qualify as a broken TM at the end of the day in my categories, because it just seems way too strong. Like, honestly, this move plus Dream Eater would probably be the perfect set in my mind. But that does it for all of the Kanto Pokemon for this episode. 78 Pokemon getting through. We're still just completely crushing this section. And that just leaves us with 4 Johto Pokemon, all normal types, that I expect to completely crush Whitney. So let's start out by comparing that Granbull versus Ursaring, both high attack, basic normal type Pokemon. Let's just see how they do against Whitney. So of these 3 remaining Pokemon, they all basically got through with their movesets as is. The only exception was Teddiursa using Swift, but everything else just used its level up learn set to get through Rival 2 and Bugsy. And here with Granbull, I'm not sure it's going to need to learn any TMs in order to get through here. With Scary Face, we could theoretically go for some sort of bite flinch strat in order to get through the Miltank, and we can also use Charm in order to lower our opponent's attack stat. And those 2 factors together with the Goldberry might just be enough for this Pokemon to get through everything. And honestly, if we did learn any new moves here, probably it would be Headbutt. That's basically the best move we could add on to Granbull at this point without going for return strats. And honestly, that would probably be enough with the Scary Face if Bite and Tackle are not. So here, let's go ahead and just take on Snubbull here in the gym. It's using Scary Face on us. Clearly it knows the strategy. It's just not using Bite yet, and we easily get through with no issues. We get a level up here and learn Lick. Now, I'm not going to learn this move. Number 1, it's only 20 base power. Number 2, it just doesn't really add any additional coverage, I don't feel. Bite is already super effective against Ghost and Psychic, and neutrally effective against Rock, and it's not like Lick's going to help us against Steel types, so I think this move we can safely skip. Yes, it does have the chance to paralyze opponents, but Scary Face pretty much achieves the same thing of allowing us to outspeed. So with that, I'm simply going to put a Goldberry on this Pokemon. We're coming in at level 19 with 70 HP. We've got Tackle, Scary Face, Bite, and Charm, and we're coming in with 58 attack, 41 defense, 35 in both specials, and 29 speed. So we're not going to outspeed initially against the Miltank, but my strategy is basically Scary Face into Bite, and let's see if that is enough. So round 1 here against Whitney, I'm simply going to Tackle on the Clefairy. I don't think we need to mess around here. And it's going to be a 3-hit KO. She uses Metronome for Sharpen, so we get 1 free turn there. Now out comes the Miltank. We're going to Scary Face this Pokemon and now start biting. We get the flinch. After the flinch, I'm going Charm, basically hoping to lower this Pokemon's attack enough that it doesn't really do that much to us. We've got all the charms set up now. We heal up with the Goldberry as it goes back into the rollout. And at this point, we may as well just go Tackle and get the easy victory. So we get to level 20 and there was no issue getting through Whitney, but the Whitney badge is super important for a Pokemon because it also gives us a small badge boost in our normal attacks. And that extra damage could be really useful as we go forward. Now, one thing that I have been thinking about a lot is the fact that currently, yes, I'm saying that max power return is basically so completely ridiculous that we're not going to allow it. But at some point, normal times will really need the move return. So it's more a question of when I allow them to use it without putting them on a separate list. It's a little bit different for normal types using return because of the fact that that's basically the strongest TM that they get in these games outside of Hyper Beam. And so I can imagine that by the time we reach red at the very end of the game, if there are any normal types left, they're pretty much going to need the move return to get through. That would be like banning fire types from learning Fire Blast or ice types from learning Blizzard. I'm saying that it's unreasonable at this point in the game, but there is a point where you probably have to go for that strategy. So just like that, we get Granbull through. Let's see how Ursaring does in the same section. Now, Ursaring's stats are very close to those of Granbull. It seems to be just a little bit faster basically, and maybe a little bit stronger all around, but they're both basically just strong physical attackers that are normal type. So I expect the results of this section to be pretty much the same. The real difference, I guess, is that this Pokemon has an even wider move pool. It can learn things like Rollout, and it can learn the move Fury Cutter, both of which we know will eventually get us through this fight. On the other hand, it does not get Bite though, so we're using Lick in this section. So we may need to add the move Headbutt in order to go for some sort of flinch strat here, but we don't have a reliable way to paralyze opponents or lower their speed anyway. So that's probably not the best strategy with this Pokemon. So we do have Fury Cutter and Rollout in the bag just in case we need them. But let's come into the gym and just beat up on Scary Carry again, where basically it's just a matter of using Fury Swipes. If we got a better range, we could have even knocked her out in one turn there. In this case, it took a couple turns, but really not that that bad. So now coming into the Whitney fight, we have a level 17 Ursaring with 64 HP, Fury Swipes, Leer, Lick, and Scratch on the moveset. We're coming in with 55 attack, 37 defense, 36 in both specials, and 30 speed. So pretty darn close considering that we're a couple levels lower than that Granbull was. Let's just see how this one goes. So first up against Qwilfish, I'm just going to use Fury Swipes because if we get a good range, this is even going to be a 2-hit KO here. We easily get through that first Pokemon. Out comes the Miltank, and I'm actually going to Leer once. She gets a flinch on us turn 1 though, so we had to heal with a berry. She's using rollout and she gets a critical hit, so she's going to knock us out there. I did not use the gold berry on this one, so let me slap that on and try again. So back for round 2 with the gold berry on this time. We once again are going Fury Swipes on the Qwilfish. As long as we get a 3-hitter, we would get a 2-hit range there. We just didn't quite get it. But now out comes the Miltank. Let's go for another Leer here. She gets a critical hit stomp turn 1. Now she's into rollout, but we can see with one Leer, a 5-hit Fury Swipes took her all the way down to 15 HP remaining. I think Scratch will knock her out from there, and sure enough it does. So basically just one Leer, get a really good Fury Swipes, and you can knock her out in 2 turns. Otherwise it's probably a 3-hit KO if I had to guess. Still not too bad. We get through Whitney on the second attempt. And still without any TMs learned on this Pokemon, so it's basically cruising at this point. We'll have to see if Lick is enough for Morty, and it might have to add something to get through Rival 3's Magnemite as well, but really not too bad. So with that, it's time to go with the unevolved forms, and up first is, of course, Snubbull. Now this Pokemon was also able to get through Rival number 2 and Bugsy without any TMs, but we may need to add a stronger move here. Still, I think the strategy is basically the same. It's just a question of whether or not we add on Headbutt. So now in the gym, we can go ahead and fight our doppelganger with Scary Carry, where basically I'm just going to Scary Face her Snubbull and go into Bite since it used Charm on me, but we're faster, so only we can get a flinch at this point. And just like that, with 5 hits, we're going to get through that Pokemon, no problem. Yet again, not going to learn Lick. It doesn't really help us at all here. It's not really going to help us on the Morty section either, so we're going to stick with our moveset as it is. So let's get ready for the gym leader at level 19. Snubbull has 59 HP. We're coming in with Tackle, Scary Face, Bite, and Charm. We've got that Gold Berry on. I absolutely think we need it with the less evolved Pokemon. And we're coming in with 43 attack, 31 defense, 27 in both specials, and 24 speed. But basically the strategy will be identical. Let's just see how it works. So first up against the Qwilfish, I'm just going to go Tackle here and see how much damage it does. We did 18 damage there, so this should be a 3-hit KO. Get a critical hit turn 2. It does not quite get to the 2-hit range, so we have to knock it out in the 3rd turn. Out comes the Miltank. It's time to give it a Scary Face and start biting. She's actually still faster than us after 1 Scary Face, so we actually have to use this move twice. And we missed a bunch and she knocked us out. Let's try this one again. So next attempt, we're back to the Miltank. Once again, Scary Face on this Pokemon. We Scary Face it again, so now we actually are faster than this one. And now we just really need the flinch if we're gonna get through. We flinch it again, get a nice critical hit, but our HP was just too low and we got stomped down. So this makes me think that the best strategy here is to add on Headbutt. Obviously, it's gonna be stronger than Tackle here, and it has the ability to flinch opponents as well, so it's basically an upgrade on our moveset all the way around. Let's see if Headbutt is now enough to get through this. So first up against the Qwilfish, we can Headbutt. We did over half with this move, and it's a 2-hit KO now. And now against the Miltank, once again, we have to go Scary Face on this one. After 2 Scary Faces, we will be faster, and I'm going Headbutt. We get the flinch. Now let's Charm it. Headbutt it again once it starts using Rollout, just because we want to stop this Pokemon from doing too much damage. And once it flinches, we're guaranteed to win there. So Snubbull gets through. It does add on Headbutt. I think it's a perfectly logical move. It's never really a big mistake to forget Tackle for Headbutt, because even if we decided to forget Headbutt later and then needed it again, it's a TM move that we can buy an infinite number of times. So I'm always going to be a little bit more liberal about using the TMs that are purchasable in Goldenrod, because if we ever decide we don't need them, we just forget them, and if we decide that was a mistake, we'll just come and rectify it nice and easy. Sure, it costs some money, but it's not a big deal. So just like that, we've gotten Snubbull through. Now it's time to check on Teddiursa, the last Pokemon of today's episode. Will it repeat what its evolved form did? I think so, but let's find out. So Teddiursa was the only one of these 4 Pokemon that had to add a new move in the last section. It had to add on Swift in order to get through the rival and Bugsy. And it basically came down to the fact that there were no flinch strats for this Pokemon in the last section. We may again end up going with Headbutt just because of the fact that it is such a strong move relatively speaking, and it's going to be more consistent than going for Fury Swipes against everything. Now of course Swift is not that much weaker than using Headbutt, so let's just try with this move first, starting with of course Scary Carry. So here let's just go Swift. This looks to be a 3-hit KO with this move, and we take no damage, so we easily get through that fight. Now I think this is as simple as just giving a Goldberry. We're coming in at level 17 with 54 HP, Fury Swipes, Leer, Swift, and Lick, and we've got 38 attack, 28 in defense and both specials, and 25 in speed. So we just have to see if this is enough. If it's not, then maybe Headbutt, and if that's not enough, then maybe even Rollout will be the way to go. Let's just see. So Whitney attempt number 1, I'm just gonna go for Swift on the Clefairy. It does slightly less than half. That makes me think that maybe Fury Swipes is the way to go. We do manage to knock it out on the next turn, so very nice. Here against the Miltank, we're on full health. I'm going to go Leer. It missed the first rollout. Now it goes Stomp, but with the defense drop, we're doing decent enough damage with our Swift that we knock it out just like that. No extra TMs needed. We beat Whitney on the first attempt. And so just like that, all of these normal types make a nice clean sweep of Whitney, once again proving that she's not really all she's cracked up to be. I'm going to be very interested when we get here with a Miltank just to do some Miltank on Miltank violence, because we might be showing Whitney that she's using the wrong strategy. Anyway, that does it for these ones, so let's get to the final wrap up and see what Pokemon we're doing next week. So we are now up to 82 Pokemon, passing legitimately through Whitney, and basically everything else has gotten through with some sort of overpowered TM. Only Unknown has failed. I honestly think Only Unknown is going to fail in this section, but we'll just have to see as we get to some of these slower level up group Pokemon. There is always a chance that we hit a wall that we didn't expect. Which leads me to next week's Pokemon. A lot of these I think are pretty obvious how they're going to perform, but there are a couple that I'm actually going to pay some special attention to. Of course, next time we are coming in with Exeggutor, Marowak, we have all the Hitmons, Lickitung, Kangaskhan, Seadra, and of course that means Kingdra's getting in on the action, Seaking, Starmie, Steelix, Piloswine, Octillery, Mantine, Skarmory, we've got Houndour and Houndoom, and then we're also going to add a couple more in. I'm going to make this a long episode. Donphan and Stantler coming in. We also will mix in a couple of member picks in the next episode. Of course, we're going to have to get that Reborate in. Weezing and Rhydon are also at the point where they should be here in the Pokedex. So we're going to mix those 3 Pokemon into the next episode. So out of 23 challengers, I think the only Pokemon I'm really worried about is Houndour. Keep in mind, it's going to be coming in a slower level up rate, and it's an first stage Pokemon. Like, yes, we've seen fire types get through, but the fire types that have gotten through so far were not in the slow growth rate, with the exception of Arcanine, which is a legendary Pokemon. So it just makes sense, guys. Houndour, on the other hand, is a first stage fire type that might not get enough to actually get through this fight. We're just going to have to see how that actually works out. Another Pokemon that I'm a little bit nervous about, of course, is Mantine. We've been kind of just cheesing our way through fights to get through this point, but in the last section, it was absolutely terrible, and we might just take too much damage here. It might be too luck-based. I don't know exactly what Mantine's learn set is in this section of the game, but I don't expect it to learn a ton of good TMs. So that Pokemon might actually be a struggle. We're just going to have to see. Anyway, as usual, place your predictions in the comment section down below. So one last thing before I go, guys, I just want to say once again, happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate. If you don't, still thank you for everything. You know, it's a family tradition. I'm sure in many households, it wasn't mine. Just go around and tell people what you're thankful for this year. I'm thankful for you guys. GSC Pokemon Challenges is so much fun for me to make because of the fact that there are so many people who are really invested in this. Like the number of new channel members, the number of comments that I get every time I put out a video, the debates, the discussions, the, hey, maybe if you had done this, this Pokemon would have gotten through. Hey, maybe this strategy is a little too luck-based and you shouldn't have let this Pokemon through. Hey, should you allow hidden power? Should you allow return? Should you allow these overpowered TMs? I generally post these videos like just before I go to bed or just before I go to work. And they're the thing that I look forward to the most the next day, just seeing all those comments and all the community engagement here. Like, you guys are awesome. Let me just say that really straight up. You guys are great. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I just have so much fun here. I want to keep this channel going. We're probably going to be about 3 more episodes of Whitney, and then we're on to Morty in the Christmas New Year's season. When I have a little bit more time off work, I will be making a few extra things. If you've been watching RBY recently, you'll know that some kind of memey things have been on my mind, and I might want to try a thing or two here in Gen 2 as well. But we're going to keep the main focus of this channel, of course, on the Minimum Battles series, even if I put out some other videos. Don't freak out. Don't worry. I'm always thinking about you guys and thinking about what you might like to see. But I know that this channel is really, really built on this community, and I just can't say thank you enough, guys. It really does make my day. So anyway, just thank you again. Hope you and your family and your friends and significant others and jobs and life and everything are just going great. If they're not, just hang in there. Remember, there's a lot to be thankful for. And I just hope that I can also do my part to bring a little bit of joy and happiness to your day. Anyway, just let me know if there's anything I can do better to make this even more enjoyable for you guys. But I just wanted to say I appreciate you. Thank you. See you in the next video. Later. Yes.